Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, and today's video will be covering another new Nintendo Switch eShop sale and 10 more great Switch games worth buying, so let's get into it. The first game is Ninja 1987. Now, Ninja 1987 is a classic-inspired action platformer similar to the NES Ninja Gaiden series. And the game is pretty light on story, but an evil ninja is causing chaos throughout the world, and you'll play as a good ninja from a rival clan as you go on a quest to stop them and save the world. And so throughout this game, you'll be running and jumping. You also will be hacking and slashing your way through enemies and bosses. And you have some other unique abilities like the ability to double jump, climb up walls, throw ninja stars, and even unleash a powerful fire-based attack that will damage all enemies on screen. And it does have that retro feel, but the controls are very responsive, and it does have some cool pixel art cutscenes as well. The stages are fun, and so are the bosses, but I will say the game is definitely not as punishing or challenging as some of these early retro action platformers like Ninja Gaiden, but it does have that similar feel. The game itself also isn't too long. It's probably only going to take you about an hour to 2 hours to beat everything, but it's also a budget title, and at full price it's even under $5. So I think it's a steal right now with it being on sale, and if you like retro-inspired action platformers, I would definitely recommend it. The next game is Cat Quest 3. Now, Cat Quest 3 is a light-hearted action RPG full of cat puns and pirates. And so in this game, you'll actually be going on a quest to hunt down the legendary North Star treasure. And it does have more of a pirate theme to the game, so you'll actually be traveling the high seas and exploring this new open world. And so the game is more simplistic and kind of family friendly, but it doesn't take away from the overall fun of the game as it becomes very addicting. And as I mentioned, it has more of an open world type feel to it, so there's all kinds of different unique side quests and fun characters you'll meet along the way. And like I said, it's definitely full of cat puns around every corner, and it dives into this pirate theme where a lot of your enemies will be rats, but pirates at the same time. You can play through the game solo, but it also has co-op features as well. And so I think if you like action RPGs, this one's worth picking up as well. The next game is Iconoclasts. Now, this is a story-driven action platformer Metroidvania game, and the game takes place in a dystopian future, and you'll play as a young girl, Robin, as she tries to take down this cult-like corrupt government. And so the game really focuses on a good balance between platforming and combat, but also puzzle solving. And so you'll have more of a gun mechanic as well as a wrench, and these will play off each other, forming unique puzzles and interesting combat as well. Now, the game does also include a cool crafting system, and you can use this to power up your equipment and unlock new abilities for your character. And there's even a couple playable characters to choose from as you progress through the game. It has challenging bosses and an engaging story, as well as some great pixel art that keeps you engaged with the game. I think if you're looking for a new Metroidvania style challenge, I'd recommend this game as well. The next game is the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. Now, this is a collection of 7 great games from the Marvel vs. Capcom universe, and it consists of 6 classic fighting games and 1 beat-em-up game, The Punisher. And this collection really takes you through the evolution of the different Marvel and Capcom fighting games. And so it starts off with more Marvel themed games and eventually starts to introduce some Capcom themed games with crossover games like Street Fighter vs. X-Men, and eventually concludes with the great title of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And so the first games have much more of a smaller roster to them, but over time, when you reach the final Marvel vs. Capcom 2 game, there's dozens of characters to choose from, more advanced features, and a bunch more gameplay modes as well. And so I think if you're new to this series, I would definitely recommend starting with the earlier Marvel titles, as again, there's a smaller roster and less features, and you can really see that evolution as you play through to the newer titles. There's also a bunch of different quality of life features. There's online play, local co-op play, unlockable artwork, and much more. And so if you like classic fighting games, I would definitely recommend this collection as well. The next game is Scarlet Tower. Now, Scarlet Tower is a roguelike survival game with several RPG elements, and you'll play as various heroes as they try and stop corruption across the land. And so the game has a similar feel to other titles such as Vampire Survivors, but I think this game does a great job of really giving you a more robust experience versus just the core survival mechanics. And so you still have that reverse bullet hell survival type gameplay, but some of the other things that are thrown into the mix is that there's a bunch of different character types you can choose from, and these characters will have a shared stat tree or skill tree with various stats that you can upgrade and power up, like your attack damage, your health regeneration, your overall HP, armor, and much more. But then each individual character also has multiple skill trees, unlocking new ability types and build types for that character. But then there's even other skill trees that you can unlock. Some of them are offensively themed, others are defensively themed. Those can even be leveled up, and you can choose between them and mix and match them to build your ultimate build. But then there's even equipment that you'll find throughout your runs, various equipment and armor types that you can equip to characters. And there's different quality levels of these, like common armor, rare armor, epic, and more. And these can even be crafted and powered up. And some of them can be mixed and matched to unlock unique bonuses depending on how many types of the same equipment you have. And even relic stones are found along the way. And these can be mixed and matched as well as leveled up for your characters, giving boosts to things like attack speed, movement speed, and much more. On top of that, there's even multiple difficulty levels for each level you'll find throughout the game. And depending on the corruption level you're playing on, this can lead to better equipment, more challenges, and there's even a nightmare mode you can use for levels, which increases the difficulty, but also increases the likelihood that you'll find better equipment there. And so the game as a whole is very addictive and a lot of fun, and it's cool to see more challenging elements thrown in, as well as more robust systems that you can level up and unlock for your characters. So I think if you like survival games and action RPGs, this game is a must play as well. The next game is The Longest 5 Minutes. Now this game is a retro-inspired turn-based RPG with a unique story twist. And so the game starts off with you taking on the final boss of the game, and really the last 5 minutes of that battle, but you've come to find yourself suffering from amnesia and can't remember a thing from your entire journey. And so you'll be going through and playing different flashbacks, really recovering your memory that brought you to this final battle. And so it's a pretty cool and unique concept, but the game itself focuses more around this traditional turn-based combat and feels more like a classic retro turn-based RPG. And so each flashback is more of its own standalone adventure with unique objectives, and the equipment you find and how you progress with your characters doesn't necessarily transfer from flashback to flashback. And so the game isn't necessarily too challenging, but it does have a cool concept around it. And so I think if you like retro-inspired classic RPGs, this one is worth checking out as well. The next game is Dark Deity. Now, Dark Deity is a classic Fire Emblem-inspired strategy RPG, and you'll play as a band of students at a military academy that are thrown into war well before graduation between your kingdom and another kingdom in the area. And so it features classic turn-based tactical combat, and you'll have a variety of character types that you can choose from to bring with you throughout battles. And the game is more linear, but between battles, you'll be able to build out your team as you see fit, where you can collect different weapons and upgrade them for characters, and characters can even hold multiple different weapon types, each with their own unique playstyle and abilities. It also has some relationship building features, again similar to the Fire Emblem series, where you have mini cutscenes, flushing out relationships between characters and building bonds. which can increase the effectiveness of these characters playing together. Now, characters will have a set class type, but throughout the game you can also evolve them and upgrade them with different class changes. And so this is another cool element to the game as well. I think if you like classic tactical RPGs, this one's a must play as well. The next game is Goodnight Knight. Now, Goodnight Knight is a roguelike action RP dungeon crawler with a humorous story and addictive gameplay. And so you'll actually play as a knight falling from a massive tower that crashes to the ground and discovers he's lost his memory. And so you need to actually go on a quest to reclimb this tower and unravel the mystery of why you're there and how you lost your memory as you climb this tower. And the gameplay feels like a combination of an action RPG meets twin stick shooter with some stealth mechanics thrown in the mix as well. And so you'll progress through dungeons, fighting your way through enemies and bosses, and along the way you'll collect different relics that can power up your character. And the progression system is a little bit different than your standard RPG, where these relics is what you'll actually be leveling up as you defeat enemies. And so throughout your run, you'll basically be able to hold as many relics as you want, but each one of them has a weight associated with them. And so if you die on your run, you'll have to return your relics back to your stash, and you'll only be able to hold so much as you enter the new run. But the cool thing is that as you level up these relics, they actually lose their weight and eventually can become weightless, allowing you to hold more and more relics over time and further enhancing your abilities. And so it's a cool concept that has really addictive gameplay and a humorous story to go along with it. So I think if you like action RPGs with roguelike elements, I would definitely recommend this one as well. The next game is Cosmic Star Heroine. And this game is a classic-inspired turn-based RPG with a similar style and feel to Chrono Trigger. And you'll play as Alyssa, a secret agent that starts to realize there's corruption within her organization, and so you need to unravel this mystery before it gets out of hand. And so throughout the game, you'll be able to recruit a large cast of playable characters, and I think where this game really stands out is its unique combat elements. And so instead of focusing on more traditional turn-based combat, each one of your characters will have a set of abilities that they can use throughout battle, but they can basically only use each one of these abilities one time. And so this will lead to some strategic choices you'll need to make in order to maximize your results in combat, and if you hope to defeat some of the challenging bosses later on throughout the game. It has a cool pixel art style and really brings the world to life. And I think if you like classic retro-inspired RPGs, this one's worth playing as well. The final game on today's list is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. And this game is an open-world action RPG set in a fantasy world, and you'll play as the Arisen, a hero that goes on a quest to slay a dragon and stop the end of the world. And so you'll start the game by building out your own customized character and choosing a class type for them. And this will really dictate the playstyle of your character, your abilities, and how you level up throughout the game. And so there's a few types to choose from, and this will dictate what weapons you can equip throughout the game, the spells and abilities you learn, and much more. And so the combat itself is action focused, and it's a third-person action RPG. And you'll have your common monsters that you encounter, but also larger boss fights, which take a bit more strategy to take down. And so you'll play as your character, but you'll also have a few pawn characters that accompany you along the way. And these are NPC controlled characters. And again, these can also have their own class types. So you might bring along things like mages and warriors and thieves or healers, depending on the situation. And these can be swapped out as you progress throughout the game. You'll have your main storyline that you can explore, but there's also several side quests that you can take on along the way, helping various villagers, and it can really help you flesh out the story as a whole. I think if you like open world RPGs, this game's definitely worth picking up as well. Well, again, that wraps up our list of 10 more Switch games worth buying in this latest Nintendo Switch eShop sale. But let us know in the comments below, have you played any of these games before? Are you going to pick them up? Are there any other great deals we missed in this latest holiday sale? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And another really cool way you can help support the channel is we actually partnered with a game store, Nutmeg Games. So if you like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Magic cards, board games, and more, head to nutmeggames.com/nerdproblemsgaming and use our promo code nerdproblemsgaming at checkout. You'll get 10% off your order and help support our channel at the same time. So if you want to take advantage of that great discount, be sure to head there as well. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.